America fights back. Once again, Charles Gibson.
This nation's children have seen a lot in recent days, more than they should. We've all seen more than we should. But what are children feeling? And what about parents struggling with their own fears and emotions? How can they answer their children's tough questions when they're not so sure what the answers are? Questions like, am I safe? Mom, Dad, are you safe when you go to work? And will this happen again? John Quinones gathered up some parents around the country to listen to the children, and you too may be surprised by what you'll hear.
She lives in a high-rise apartment building above the streets of New York. Gabrielena Villegas, a 12-year-old, having a tough time going to sleep.
Every time I hear a plane pass overhead close to my building because it's like really loud, I have a bad feeling like it's gonna crash right into my bedroom window.
She's not alone. It's been 10 days now since the attack. And for kids across the country, not just New York, the nightmare won't go away.
The planes crash, and when people are hurt and they're crying and they're worried and they're running. And
you keep seeing that image?
Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever forget this?
No, because it's a moment when 5,000 people died.
So many died, 800 miles from where Tommy Ledford lives in Chicago. He's a 10-year-old who can no longer walk past the 100-story John Hancock building without thinking of the horror at the World Trade Center.
I was trying to imagine if a plane hit the John Hancock, how sad it would be. How many people would die.
They may still be playing games during the day, but at night, many are haunted by their fears.
I had a dream that I was in the lobby, and I was just sitting there, and then I heard something crash, and I couldn't get out, and then all the floors just toppled on top of me.
We hear it over and over again, see it in their young faces. Kids worried about what we used to take for granted.
I will be worried when my dad goes on vacation, but all I can do is hope that he doesn't get hurt.
There's fear of what they've seen and fear of what's yet to come.
If we start war, it could make a very big war and we could be in this for years.
Since my father's in the Army, I watch a lot of war movies, and it's very, very scary, the war, because they can hide on the ground, and then when you're walking, you don't know what's going to happen.
We're little, we can't do anything about it. So it's real scary. It's more than any gun shooting. This can kill thousands or millions of people.
For young minds, that's overwhelming. Too much to absorb. In Berkeley, California, Chicago, Illinois, Summit, New Jersey, New York City.
I think we are very vulnerable because we cannot fight and we cannot handle guns or anything, so I feel non-safe, and I'm worried that I could die.
They're worried about themselves, but also worried about the pain and bloodshed to people who live far away, people they've never met. In Berkeley, we asked these 10 and 11-year-olds to tell us with a show of hands how many are against U.S. military retaliation. Virtually all of them.
Like, teachers tell us that if you get into a fight with someone at school, then you should try to talk it out.
I think we should think this out and see who did this and make peace.
President Bush is saying he wants this man dead or alive.
I think President Bush should make sure that that one man did it, and if they're sure, they should kill him, but we shouldn't go and bomb them because we don't want to be killing lots of innocent people like they want to do to us. That's just not right.
Well, you get that sense of the innocence that's lost. You see small children, they're answering you almost like young adults.
These are the children's parents. We showed them our interviews. Many say it's the first time they've really heard their kids' fears and anxieties.
I didn't sense they were afraid, but I might have been missing something, it seems like.
I try to keep myself from crying every time I watch the news.
I try to tell her, it's sad to say, but this is real.
This isn't a movie.
Where I live at Fort Washington by the bridge, and I fear that one of the terrorists may drive on the bridge and blow it up.
I just explained to him, we just have to have faith, we have to pray, and we can't live in fear, we just have to keep going on.
Well, I wish the guy who wanted to do it was never born, and our lives could be the same, and it'd be the same as always, and nothing would ever happen bad.
We're trying to make them feel safe when we don't necessarily feel that safe.
Child psychologists say don't despair. The children simply want to know that their world is safe. Kids 8 years old and younger don't want or need a lot of information. Older kids deserve more. And the experts say it's important to remind the children that the world is uniting against evil, that some good will come out of this. And above all, remember the kids take their cues from you. If you're calm and at ease, then they will be too.
What message do you have for President Bush and the American government?
Killing innocent civilians is not a good thing to do, and it's better that we believe we can get the people that actually did the harming than people that didn't do anything.
Yeah, I'm very proud to hear him say that. I think that retribution is very far from his mind. And that's the way he was brought up.
So what's the point in going back and taking revenge if you're just going to kill just as many people as in the World Trade Center?
Well, we might prevent this from happening again. That's the argument.
Well, it's just going to kill more people.
If something happens and civilians are killed, what do you say about right and wrong, good and evil?
It's hard enough for adults to understand, but how will we ever know what it's doing to our kids? No easy answers. And yet there was something else we heard. Uncomplicated hope that it seems only a child can have.
Whenever something like this happens, we always come back and then get better and better. And I think America has a habit of learning from its mistakes and making itself a better place to live.
Have a wonderful night.
At the end of the day, it's a comforting thought.
Night.
Good night. Sleep tight.
After this long nightmare.
All was good to listen to the kids. President Bush said tonight to the Taliban in Afghanistan, you will hand over the terrorists or you will share their fate. When we come back, what would it be like to fight a war in Afghanistan? Who are the Afghanis and how have they defeated so many others in the past?